Hey guys, what's up? This is an awesome movie called The Last Starfighter. And this came out in the 80s, and this is the first movie to ever use CGI technology for special effects. Before this movie, every special effect was basically little models that people made and blew up, and all of the spaceships that were shooting lasers. It would be fake. It would be like, they would just make the little models and they would try to make them shoot lasers or fly around through space and whatever it is. This was the first one, and even the front cover, the page, this spaceship behind this dude who's the main character, who becomes an astronaut, is CGI, and it was really exciting at the time. I saw this in the theater in the 80s, and it was really good. It was a really good movie, very inspiring movie. Really interesting movie. That the plot was interesting, that it was a space movie. It was about space battles. It had space battles in it. It had little people in fighter ships, and they basically were fighting this whole alliance. It was like the Space Alliance or whatever they were called. They were fighting these evil people that wanted to take over the universe, take over the galaxy, and they were called the Kodan Armada or something like that, the Kodan Armada or the Godan Armada or whatever it was. And it was really cool because you get it was about a kid who he was growing up. Kids I don't know, he's just turning 18, he wants to go to college, and he's growing up in a on Earth, in this area, and so it was a some kind of I don't know, those mobile home parks. And so in the mobile home park there was a video game machine, and this was one of those 80s arcade games. And the arcade games in the 80s were just Pac-Man, Galaga, these little space games, little spaceships shooting other spaceships. And that was the video games in the 80s. You put a quarter in the machine, and then you play this, you'd have 3 spaceships, and when those 3 spaceships blew up, unless you made extra spaceships, that would be it. You got to put another quarter and play more. So anyway, so he's playing this game, and he's getting really good at it, and he's got nothing else to do. He's hanging out with his girlfriend. They were going in a pickup truck to the beach, or hang out at night, whatever, with his friends and their girlfriends and whatever. And it was just him and his friends and whatever, they would go out. And so he's playing this video game where he lives, because it was the only thing to do there. There was nothing to do where he lived. It was a mobile home park. He was kind of people relied on him to fix their antennas and fix their TV signals and stuff like that. And it wasn't a fun place. He wanted to get out of there. He didn't want to live there anymore. He wanted to go to school. He was applying for the school that he wanted to go to. I think he didn't get accepted and whatever. So he was bummed out that he wasn't getting accepted to the school that he wanted to go to, because that was he felt that was his only way out of that situation. And so he was playing this video game, and then after a while, even during the beginning of the movie, he beats the game, and it says, and the game was saying you have beat the Kodan Armada. You have beat you beat the game, basically. He destroyed all the ships. He beat the main ship. He won the game. He beat the game. He got the highest score, and basically he won the game, because some games you can beat. Usually those games are just if you beat the game, you just play the game from the beginning, but it's on super hard mode, where it's really hard to beat anything. So he beats the game, and it turns out, and then all of a sudden he gets visited by this alien, and it turns out that the video game is not really there to be a video game. The video game is there to train and recruit starfighters, to beat an actual, to fight in an actual spaceship, in an actual space war against the Kodan, who is it, Zor or something, and the Kodan Armada. And basically the Kodan Armada was trying to take over the galaxy, trying to take over the universe, using their ships, their spaceships, to destroy all of the friendly spaceships and to take over all of the friendly united planets of the Federation or whatever they called it. And so like basically like they were on their like last spaceships. They were trying to recruit people. They were trying to get people to be able to beat this Kodan Armada. They, to get into a spaceship and beat this. So they made up this video game, which wasn't really a game. It was actually a tool for recruitment and a training tool. And it taught him how to fly a real spaceship and beat real aliens and real alien ships and beat the real Kodan Armada. Because like in the video game, it's like, you have been recruited by the space, whatever, to beat Zora and the Kodan Armada and whatever. And he beats them. So because he beats them, this alien comes down. And this is the guy that was he was in classic movies. Like the guy that comes down and recruits him, he was in like classic movies. I don't remember the name, but it's on the disc. I'm gonna read it. But he basically gets recruited by this guy who's an alien. He comes down in this like space car, like a flying car with like sort of like a DeLorean or something, or a Lamborghini, where they're like the doors like open up like a spaceship. And so he comes down there and says, you've been recruited. Basically, that game wasn't a game. The game was a recruitment tool. You've been recruited. Got to come with us, and we're gonna go ahead and you're gonna become a real Starfighter and battle the real enemy and win the real war. And so like he takes the guy there, shows him everything. Shows him like there's a lot of other aliens, there's other Starfighters, there's other people that are. Like there's this alien snake dude. He was like sort of like a lizard man, but he's like a good guy, and he's an alien from another planet, but he looks like a lizard man, but he's a really good guy, and he's the co-pilot that the main character ends up going in with into the spaceship to go and fight the fleet. And so the guy's like, so the kid's like, you know what? No, I don't think I want to get into a spaceship. I don't want to like risk my life on a real space battle. And the guy's like, listen, you got to, because the Kodan Armada, once they conquer us, they're gonna go to Earth. They're gonna conquer Earth next. You've got to protect your own planet. And so he's like, I don't care. I don't want to. This is not for me. Like, I'm just gonna go back to where I live and try to get into another college and that. And the guy's like, no, you can't avoid this. You can't ignore it. You've got to beat them. They're gonna take over the galaxy. They're gonna take over the Earth. You've got to stop them before it happens. You can do it. You beat this game, right? You already know how to do it. You already know the skills. You already know how to beat them. You just have to do it for real. And so basically talks them into it. Even though he goes back to Earth, and he realizes that, there's just like, basically he goes to Earth and he finds that the Kodan Armada has dispatched these aliens to come after him to kill him, to destroy him. And so what happens is when that alien takes him from Earth, he leaves a robot, like a fake robot, like somebody that looks like him, that talks like him, that acts like him, that no one will know he's gone, because this robot is going to take his place and act like him, and everyone's going to think he's still there. And because they're afraid that the aliens are going to come down and start going like for the people that he loves and the people next to him, and they're going to try to like attack him. And that robot knows how to fight off the aliens. And so the guy comes. So the main character, the main hero, he comes down. He says, I don't want to be a Starfighter. He comes back down to Earth because there's nothing they can do. They're like, okay, fine, you don't want to be a Starfighter, go back to Earth. So he comes back to Earth and he realizes that these like aliens are coming after him. They're coming after him. They attack the drone that looked like him, the guy who was like sort of like a robot or an android that looked like him. That you really couldn't tell the difference. They looked exactly the same. And so they try to attack him, and he couldn't. And he realized that these guys are going to come after his girlfriend, the people that are in his immediate family, his friends, the people he loves. That these robots are really these aliens from this other armada. They're really going to come down to Earth and start basically killing people that they find a threat to their armada. So he changes his mind and says, you know what, I will be a Starfighter. And so he's like, I will be a Starfighter. So what happens is he goes back there, gets into the ship, and this is the ship that he gets into, and he goes out there and he fights the armada that's attacking. The guy that I'm going to tell you the name of the actor. It's really, really cool. This is so cool, and the special effects were all computer generated. And at the time, because this was the first movie with computer generated effects, it was impressive, and it actually looks really cool. But the effects didn't look as good as the CGI we have now, because now the CGI, the spaceships look really good, really high, a good what do they call them? Graphics, right? Really good graphics. At the time, the computer graphics weren't as good, but they were still good. They were decent, and the ships looked presentable and stuff like that, and the whole battle looked presentable, and all the special effects. And there were some practical effects, but there were also a lot of digital effects, like the aliens, the makeup and everything. Those were practical effects. People that were part people, part robot. Those were practical effects. But there was also like the spaceships and the whole space wars were digital effects. And so basically this is actually a pretty cool disc, and it's got like the front of it cool. It's got the picture of the picture of the movie thing that came out, and like you open it up and it's got like a galaxy there, and it's got like the Earth on here. So it's got like basically a picture on the inside, which is nice because a lot of DVDs don't have that, and it's got a nice looking disc in it, which is like blue and stuff like that. And so on the back, it says this. It says, let me see if there's a light in here. Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada. And that's basically the thing that the game said, and that's basically the thing that the guy that picked him up said. And he's basically, that's what happened. And you can see like some of the pictures. This is his girlfriend. This is the lizard guy that was he's in the spacesuit. The lizard guy, that's his friend that fights with him, his co-pilot. And that's the spaceship that they get into. And then like what else it says on the back is like, so begins an adventure of galactic proportions in The Last Starfighter. After Earthling Alex, Lance Guest, who played Alex, conquers the Starfighter video game, he is recruited by alien Centauri Robert Preston. Yes, Robert Preston is in this movie, and I was completely surprised because in the past, I only saw Robert Preston in these classic movies. Like, I don't even remember the name of the movie, but that whole Marion the Librarian song that he kind of sings and dances in those classic movies. I forgot the name of the movie, but I remember like the song he sang, Marion the Librarian. He met this librarian named Marion. So he sang a song about Marion the Librarian. He was in a completely different movie. And now he uses this really, really good acting to play a convincing role in a science fiction movie. And I never expected him to actually be in a science fiction movie, because that's not the kind of acting that he does. But he does a really good role. He uses his acting, and he does a very, very convincing role of the guy that he plays in the movie. So basically, Alien Centauri, right? He's also an alien. Like, he looks human, but then underneath all the makeup, he's an alien. Like, when he takes off his makeup, you can see that he's a complete alien. Alien says Robert Preston to be part of an elite legion of fighters leaving behind his trailer park home for the outer region of space. Alex becomes the last hope of the beleaguered Star League and hundreds of worlds, including Earth, loaded with an out-of-this-world bonus feature and digitally remastered for optimum picture quality. The Last Starfighter 25th edition, that's the disc, is the ultimate video game fantasy come true. So, okay, about this movie and about the whole video game fantasy thing. At the time, this was the first video game fantasy movie that ever came out. And at the time, it was not unreasonable to believe that some of the video games were actually training people to be real starfighters. Like it's plausible that some alien force would take an arcade video game and bring it down and not tell anyone that they're actually playing that game. They're training to become starfighters for an intergalactic war. It was not implausible, because a lot of those games had like little ships that you pilot and shoot down enemy ships, and that's what they were about. So that's not unplausible. Also, if you've ever heard of the story, I know there was a movie for it, there was a book about it called Ready Player One. And I didn't see the movie Ready Player One because I just liked the book so much. I don't know if the movie's going to be good or whatever it was. I don't know if it was good, but I don't know how they were going to put that book into a 2-hour movie. But they were doing. They basically made a book called Ready Player One, and it was cool. It was just about. It was also about. You know, it was the future. It was like it was these realistic like haptic suit video games where if you beat this video game, you get billions of dollars or something by the people that made the video game, and everybody was trying to beat this video game to actually get the prize. Whoever beats the game gets like billions of dollars as a prize. Like it's like tens of billions of dollars as a prize, and everybody on the planet was trying to beat that game because if you win, you get billions of dollars. So a lot of people were playing it, and that was what it was about. This kid and his adventure through real life and this video game, trying to beat it and trying to make millions of billions of dollars. However, I've got the name of the guy that wrote it, and I didn't see the movie because I don't know, because I love the book so much, and it was just a lot of 80s stuff in that book, and it was just like this book was amazing, really good, and I didn't see how the movie was going to be better or just as good, and you know, unless everyone would say this is the best movie ever, then I'd see it, but I didn't. But whatever. So anyway, the second book that he came out with is called Armada, and basically Armada was the same story as The Last Starfighter in the book. So they didn't make a movie called Armada because it would be redundant, because Armada, the story Armada by the guy that wrote Ready Player One, the second book he wrote was Armada, or the book that he wrote after Ready Player One was Armada. And it was interesting. I did try to read that book from the beginning, and what I found was he was using the same exact plot from Ready Player One, where it was this kid and he was playing video games, and then he got recruited because he got good at it. He got recruited, and the people told him the video games you're playing was not really video games. It was a recruitment tool to train you and recruit you to be a real starfighter. And so it was just, he might have pulled it off, you know, but I didn't find that. I found that like after Ready Player One, which was a really good book and a very original idea, or you know, to some degree an original idea, this was a complete copy of The Last Starfighter. Now I will say that like I think it was more inspired by The Last Starfighter, but the thing is that it was inspired, but it was also like it wasn't like the author didn't get inspired to make another original story that was inspired by Last Starfighter. It was inspired by Last Starfighter to make a story just like The Last Starfighter, where the plot is exactly like the plot from The Last Starfighter, where the kid is playing video games, he gets good at it, and then, you know, the Armada comes down and recruits him and says that wasn't just a video game, that was a recruitment tool to train you to become a starfighter to protect the Earth against these like aliens that were trying to shoot it down. It just wasn't as good, and I know that author has a lot of talent because he wrote Ready Player One, and I think when that author is trying his best and being original, I think the author can make amazing work. Like Ready Player One was really one of the best sci-fi books I ever read. But the second book it wasn't a disappointment. It was just like I didn't have the patience for it. It was a copy of The Last Starfighter, which I already liked. I already loved The Last Starfighter, and I didn't want like to read a copy of it. You know, it would have been better for him to have written a book that was based on the movie called The Last Starfighter and make it an actual book about The Last Starfighter, you know, instead of like changing it and turning it into Armada and kind of like copying The Last Starfighter. And you could say it was like, you could say it was plagiarism. I wouldn't call it plagiarism. I would say he just copied it. You know, I just think he was inspired by it and wanted to make a book about it because he was inspired by the 80s and he was inspired by this movie, obviously. The thing is that, like, seriously, like, instead write a book based on the movie, call it The Last Starfighter, the book, and put your name on it. And, you know, I'm sure The Last Starfighter people would have cut a deal with him where they get part of the money they get royalties from it, because I think it would have been a better book. And Armada, it was just such a copy of the first one and such an attempt to make a sequel to Ready Player One that it just didn't work. And I'm not gonna say it was a bad book. It wasn't. It's just that I didn't have the patience to read through it already knowing that it's just a copy of the movie that I really liked from the past, which was The Last Starfighter. You know, so that's the only thing. And so yeah, so this is pretty cool. I like the cover of it. This is the 25th anniversary, and the special features are Heroes of the Screen, retrospective documentary with the cast and crew as they revisit the scripting, casting, and groundbreaking computer effects. Yes, this is actually in here, which is decent. So if you want to, you can watch this area. It's called Heroes of the Screen. You can watch a special section of the DVD where the people in the movie 25 years later talk about their experience of the movie, how everything went, what went into acting in the movie, how everything like went down in the movie. It was basically, you get to talk to, you get a commentary from the actors. Crossing the Frontier, the making of The Last Starfighter, an original documentary on the creation of the film and its innovative visual effects. Yes, they talk about how it was made. I did find that the special features kind of took away from the movie. I think the movie is good as a standalone movie and you should leave it alone because you've already done something amazing, and it's like this other stuff doesn't really add to that. It just adds content, but it doesn't really add to the quality of the movie at all. Image gallery, rare production photos, promotional material, and an alternative ending. An alternative ending. Oh my God. I don't remember that one though. I don't remember what the alternative ending was and stuff, but I do remember the special features. I wasn't impressed by them. Feature commentary with director Nick Castle and production designer Ron Cobb. Yeah, I didn't think that was cool. But anyway, the guy was cool. He's still around. He hasn't made, I don't think he's made any other movies that I know of. The girlfriend, I don't think I've never seen her in another movie at all. The Alien was pretty cool, and this was back then. This was pretty original for a reptilian alien, and I know they did a lot of reptilian aliens after that, like in Babylon 5 and whatever. There were a lot of sci-fi movies with reptilian-looking aliens, but this is one of the earlier versions of the Alien, and he was pretty cool. And he was also a nice guy. Like, he was very, very human, and he was very, very nice. He was like a good person. The ships were amazing. The story was really cool, very inspiring. The whole idea that, you know, a person that can come out of nowhere and then save the planet by becoming the greatest starfighter in the world and defeating this, you know, invading fleet of evil people that want to like take over all of the planets of the whatever, the Star Federation or whatever it is a really cool idea, because basically it's a kid who becomes a hero who saves the world. And it's cool because the kid's not too young and he's not too old. He's like a kid. He's just going to college, and it's like, bam, the kid saves the world. And it's a cool hero story. It's a cool like this hero, you know, this kid saves the world story. And it's really, really inspiring. And it's like, it's really, really well done. It's a feel-good movie. It's like everything in the movie makes you feel good. And that's why I think the extra stuff doesn't add to the feeling of the movie. But it is a feel-good movie, and it just makes you feel good watching it. It's a fun movie. It's a good movie. It's a very, very inspiring. And it's really, really cool, especially if you like sci-fi. Or if you like Robert Preston from some of the older movies, then you might like him in this movie, because he does a really great job playing an alien, whereas I've never seen him play that in any of his career at all before. So yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video and everything. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want, and I will see you guys in another video later.